everybody, this is Blue. I hope everybody's doing good today. Well, the other night I watched a video from Pointy Hat. He did this video, talked about the problem with gods. And I thought that was a very interesting video, and so I decided I was going to expand on it. I am not criticizing Pointy Hat, in any way, shape, or form. If you have not seen any of his videos, I would suggest go check a few of them out. What he does is he takes an aspect, a point of view from D&D, and he talks about it, explains it, and then he comes up with a way to improve it or fix a problem. And so you can get some good information from Pointy Hat's videos. So let's talk about this particular video, the problem with gods. Now, I get to talk a little bit further than Pointy Hat does because Pointy Hat, he plays D&D. And so, he's not going to completely trash that game system because he likes playing it. Understandable. I don't play D&D. And so I am going to trash D&D for this. The biggest problem I think D&D has with gods is the scale problem. D&D has a level cap. As most of you know, you can't really go over 20th level, right? How can you put into scale a god when you have such a small scaling problem? Because if you try to represent a god, but in 20 levels, well, you kind of then would have to limit humans to like 3rd level. Maybe an elf can get 4th level because that's the only way that you can show the power, the difference of power in them. And so, this is Athena. This is from D&D's and Demigods, version 3, if I remember right. And so Athena is the Greek goddess of war and wisdom. Okay, a very good goddess, right? Well, if you look on the far column, it says that she is a level 20th fighter and level 20th cleric. Well, with the D&D system, with that cap, that's as good as it's going to get. The problem is you can have many humans become level 20th level as well. Yes, it'll take a little while, but yes, you can have a level 20 fighter. You could have a level 20th hobbit fighter if you wanted to. And so you can have something that's the same level as this goddess, but they should never be equal. Okay? And so that what D&D does is they add different professions onto the stack. So on the first column, you see just the one box. That is your standard PC that can get level 20th on a profession. Cool. Gods, like this one here, probably an Egyptian god. He has level 20 in multiple professions, and to make him look awesome, they have to stack those up on top of each other. Kind of cool. I always thought that was a big flaw in D&D. But I play Rolemaster. Okay, and the homebrew that I'm working on is a version of Rolemaster. And there is no level cap. You can have any level you want. And so, I did. There we go. This particular god of death, we could say, is a level 600 god of death. A level 600 fighter assassin, okay, which is more impressive. Well, the level 600, obviously, because it's all there. And it makes him more imposing. Um, there's nothing, well, it's powerful when we put everything together. Now it's all there in one block. And so that makes Rolemaster so much better than D&D and all the dang clones. Yeah, all those dang clones make it terrible too. Um, D&D and the clones cannot handle high level campaigns. I have to laugh, and this is because I play a different game system. When I see modules that say these are for high level characters, levels 5 through 6 or something like that, and I'm going, that's not high level. That's still low level, because with Rolemaster's No Gap, we don't consider, or at least I don't consider, high level until they get to the 10th level. Everything else is still a beginner and, getting there. It's not a high level character for me. And so, and this affects the monsters too, because, because you got that cap, you can't really make some creatures as powerful as they should be. I mean, dragons, they face that cap too. And the nice thing about Rolemaster is you can always just add a couple more numbers to that level and you got it. So if your group got powerful and, the level 20 fire drakes are not enough, throw some level 30s at them. So, Rolemaster does not have a cap system, okay, which is awesome, right? This is from MERP, Middle Earth Role-Playing, also made by ICE. This is Lords of Middle Earth, and we're talking about the Valar, the Valar, who are the big bad, big powerfuls in MERP, Lord of the Rings. And so we can see right there, Morgoth, who is the original big bad, a creation of Eru, level 500. Okay? So we can easily see how powerful Morgoth is when we have a level 15 human. Okay? There's no comparison. And this is what makes Rolemaster systems and other systems like that better than Lord of the Rings. I mean, better than D&D. Now, some of the other issues that I have with D&D is the feat system, because Rolemaster depends on skills. We have 300 skills to choose from to develop our characters. We don't have feats. And a lot of professions, they have like 3 or 4 feats in there. How do you create feats in such a limited system that could show how powerful a god is? Even if they got rid of the cap system, and they had a level 100 demigod, you would have to come up with 20 feats to fill in there to show how powerful that god is. And I don't think anybody at WotC or other clone makers would have the ability to come up with all the feats required. And so D&D is a crispy game system. It's light on the rules. So it's supposed to go a little bit easier, a little bit faster. Whereas Rolemaster is crunchy. It does have rules, it does have structure, and sometimes, yes, it can slow a game down, but it gives you so much more, such as this. You can have a level 500 character be a god and, affect the world around you. And it's awesome. I got some notes. I'm just looking at my notes here. Yeah. So, we can have, with the Rolemasters systems and games like it, you can have high-level characters that actually, you can have show the scale between like level 5 dwarf and a level 400 god of war. Okay? And we, as analytical people, we can picture that scale in our head. And that's what, helps us determine how we resolve this. Once we hear we're facing a what? Level 5 what? It's like, yeah, we're going to run. And so I think that D&D, yes, they have gods, but you really can't put stats on them because of the limitations of the system. Pointy Hat, in his video, was saying that the problem with D&D and the clones was that there were too many gods. And he's right. The comparison that I popped into my head is so many of these pharmaceutical companies says, do you have an infliction? We got a pill for that. Well, with a lot of fantasy RPGs, and not just D&D, there are gods for everything. Cultures have their own gods. A location could have its own gods. Races could have their own gods. I mean, there's anything and everything could have their own gods. I mean, there are there are profession gods and goddesses, midwifery. Any concept you can come up with, there seems to be a god for. And that can really affect the game. Pointy Hat was saying that there's a lot of inconsistencies with having so many gods. And sometimes these gods are a little too powerful for that system. And so he made a decent suggestion. First option was to make more gods, but make them weaker. And that could work, but I see a problem with it right away. A lot of pantheons have families. The Greeks have it where, Zeus had multiple children from multiple other goddesses. And so we have this family affair. And so I pictured this in my head. The group is going down this valley and they're coming across this mountain. And the cleric turns to everybody and tells them, this is Mount Uabua, and we must be careful, keep your eyes open for avalanches. And so everybody's going, why do we need to do that? Do you remember 2 weeks ago when we were on Mount Rashnish and we fought that entity? And we go, yeah, we kicked butt. Yeah, this is his brother. He liked his brother. And so watch out for rock slides and avalanches and all that. And somebody's going to go, well, why don't we just go down that mountain over there? That might be safer then. No. No, that's Mount Rikishi. And Mount Rikishi, that spirit is also a brother of that one there, but there were some epic battles fought on that mountain. And so that entity is not just an earth god. It's a warrior god as well. And so that'd be far more dangerous. So let's go down up Ubu because we just have to watch out for falling rocks. Okay. It's just the more gods you have, the more you have to track and keep organized. And if you can, yes, leave the pantheon very vague, but if you have some problems with inconsistencies, if it's this large pantheon of slightly related gods and goddesses, it could be, I think, even worse. And so the other option that Pointy Hat said was fewer and more powerful gods. And a great example of this is Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, MERP. There were 16 characters total. You have Eru Iluvatar, which is basically like the Christian God concept. He is the all-powerful. He made everything. Everything's according to his music, his mind, his thoughts, right? Then you have the Valar, which would be basically like the archangels. Archangel Michael would be like Manwë. Okay? And Morgoth, you know, the one that I showed up earlier, that would be like Satan. Okay? And Tolkien then wrote it where they were very active on during the first age, but as time progressed, they did less and less with the world. They interacted on lower levels, and so then, you know, he didn't have to write much about it because Manwë kind of sat there with a thumb up his butt, which I disagreed with because my opinion is, you helped create this mess. Come on over here and help clean it. Why should we suffer thousands of years of anguish when you could come here and fix it in maybe a year? Okay, that's my view on that part. And so fewer powerful would work. But, you know, he was going, how do you handle the inconsistencies and all that? And to me, it's simple. God dice. This is just a D100. But how I do it when I am involving gods into my worlds is I use a D100 and I give that, I figure how involved is this god with the world. Now I take a more deist view, and you know, where they say the God is real, but the God has so much going on. He's not just focusing on you 24/7. You know, the God occasionally looks and goes, oh, there he is. Yeah, he's doing okay. Good. I'm going to worry about this thing over here. There's so much of a bigger picture. To think that God is solely focused on you is kind of weird, in my opinion. And so what I do is I set a value, and usually it's 96 and above. So the player wants to invoke a god, so he has his PC do something, and we figure out if there's anything of value, and then to make a modifier, and then we roll the dice. And it's a 60. God didn't notice. So you can, you know, create a whole bunch of different variables, and to figure out what needs to be rolled. Maybe you have had a cleric who's losing his faith. He sees the temple of his god. He's mad. He's angry. He charges in, and he's cussing out his god or goddess. And then he goes up to the offer plate, readjusts his pants, and pees on the altar plate and says some profanities. Okay, he's already violated so many things. So instead of having to roll a 96 or above, maybe now, since he's done so many disrespectful things to his supposed patron god, that all he has to do is roll above a 16. And 84. He got God's attention. God comes down. God does whatever. Okay. So that's how I determine how a god would interact. Because, you know, it would be hard to say that this god's going to do this god's not going to do anything, that, you know, because if you do have a large pantheon, that is a lot to justify. But if you just use the dice, it makes it a lot easier, you know, for the GM, DM. Okay? And so we can, Pointy Hat then made a god. And we can make a god too. And it's not hard, it's just character creation. You follow the same exact steps of character creation. And we'll use this chart in just a moment. All right, so you grab your piece of paper, your character sheet, and you start filling in the basic information. Maybe create a quick little background story and all that. Rolemaster uses a 10 stat system, and their high mark is 100. Yeah, percentage base. Rolemaster's percentage based game. And so I use 2 dice when making gods. The first one is this one right here. There we go. As you can see, it has blue and red marks. It has plus signs and negative signs. And then I have just your standard D10. So we start off with a base of 100. And we roll our 2 dice 10 times. If you get a plus, you add whatever the dice roll is to your base. And in this case, it's actually a plus 10. So you'll have one stat with 110 value. And then you roll again, and this time it's a -1. So that stat would be a 99. You would have stats based from 90 to 110. And since we're talking about gods, their stats should be pretty high. And so you go through the rest of character creation, and you're going to get all your development points, and you go and use those development points to get skills. As I said earlier, Rolemaster and my system have over 300 skills to choose from in various categories, because there's academic, perception, general, which is your crafting and building, athletic, combat, magic, subterfuge, outdoors, social, medicinal, survival, deadly, and concentration. And so you can find what category kind of reflects on the god. Like if you're doing Athena, well, that's a war god, so first thing is combat, right? But let's say we're doing Ares, so there's combat. You want deadly skills in there as well. And so this is half of the skills that I have for my professions. And so you just pick the ones that reflect on the attributes of that god. And so if we're doing Morgoth, Morgoth is claimed to have the mace Grand. And so under weapons, we would say that per level, Morgoth the Devoted, his development points unlock 3 skill ranks of mace combat. And we just go like there. And there's going to be some things that Morgoth isn't going to care about, because, he's... let's go with picking locks. No, he's not going to be interested in that. Not adrenal defenses, or he might do appraisals, but there's some skills he's not going to be interested in. He's not going to be a painter, right? And so you just do a level 1 development on that PC. And when you're all done, when you spent all your development points, you just take those numbers times whatever level you want to decide. Morgoth was a level 500, so he had 3 per level, so now he has 1,500 skill ranks devoted to mace combat, which means that he is freaking deadly with that thing, right? Because that, with the way it's set up, if you don't do the skill cap on it, he would have an offensive bonus of 1,500. Well, let's just call it 1,600. Whatever he hits, he kills. Okay? And that makes him powerful. It shows the might of a god. And so then you can give him that profession's spell lists, all the way maxed out. or to his level, since we'll be talking about that short enough. And so you can make a very powerful character, a very powerful god character. Then Pointy Hat, he was talking about the different types of gods. Demigods, minor gods, most gods, then major gods. I have it like this because this is my stat that I use. Demigods, they're your half-breed gods and like humans or a god entity and a corporeal life form. Okay, demigods. And I say, well, that could probably be anywhere between 20th and 50th level. Okay, that would make them pretty powerful. You could say that Hercules could be basically a 40th level warrior. Okay. Then you go into your minor gods. These are like your local gods. Like in his video, Pointy Hat was saying that, you can have like a god of a mountain, a god of a village, a god of a river, and all that. Well, that would be what a local god would be. And you could say that that particular god is 50th to 100th level. Okay, it makes them pretty powerful, but not overwhelming. You have your lesser gods. Dionysus, which is the Greek god of wine, if I remember right. We could say that he is the god of wine, god of alcohol, and he could be anywhere between 100th and 200th level. Okay, let's make him really good with wine. Let's make him 150th level, and there we go. Then you have most gods. These are kind of like your more stronger gods. And we're talking like Zeus, Apollo. Oh, now I can't think of her. No, can't. But you could go through most mythology, and you can, you know who the primary gods are of each various religion, and you can make them most gods, which would be level 200 to 400. But then you have your powerful gods, the pinnacles of a religion. And like with Lord of the Rings, I talked about Eru Ilúvatar. He could be 400th and above. He is like the Christian God concept. So 400 and above. You can make it as high as you want. So if you are like a devout Christian, you could say, my God, which is in this game, is level 1000. It's your game. Go for it. My only advice if you do that is if your game is going to be played with others, make sure that you show some form of respect for other belief systems. Because, I would not show much respect for you if you were going to say that your Christian God is level 1000th, but then you want to go, Odin is level 200. No. Let's try to keep it somewhat level equal here. Yes, you can still have your religion's primary God being the most powerful, but if you want to say like your Christian God concept is level 1000, you should say like Odin is 900 and all that. Okay. I think there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. Having fewer higher power gods is a good concept, and it does work. But like I said, God dice work really good. The God dice concept works good for me. You can create your own gods. It's pretty easy. You can make it as vague as you want. You can make it just grabbing a piece of paper and put some notes down. Says, well, this is Odin. Odin has these powers. He has the ravens. He has his 8-legged horse. He is able to do this and that. And you can leave it just at that. But if you are like me and you are a little bit anal retentive on some stuff and you want this detailed, you can go and grab a your profession sheets, your character sheets, and go, this is Odin. He's level 800. He has this many hits. He has this. Do the stats. Do everything, and set him up. It's your game. You can do whatever you want. So anyway, almost half an hour. So you have a lot more flexibility with Rolemaster and other games compared to D&D. D&D cannot do gods because it has a level cap. You cannot show true comparison in powers when you're saying that everybody's maxed out at 20. Please put your comments down below. Everybody have a good day and take care. Be at peace.